Hey there, comrades. Bojas from Independent Solutions here. Remember 1998? You know, when Geri Halliwell was still a Spice Girl and Google was just a twinkle in Sergey Brin's eye. Well, while the rest of the world was worrying about Y2K, Russia was having its own meltdown known as the 1998 Russian financial crisis, or as I like to call it, the time when the ruble went full rubbish. This wasn't just a cute case of the economic sniffles, folks. This was a full-blown financial flu, sometimes called the Russian flu, that brought the country to its knees. So buckle up, buttercups, as we take a deep dive into this economic shit show. This crisis wasn't like losing your car keys. It was like losing your car keys, your wallet, and then realizing your car was actually a burning dumpster fire this whole time. The Russian economy went into freefall. The value of the ruble, their currency, tanked faster than my hopes of ever understanding cricket. Banks went belly up. People lost their savings. It was a mess, a real borscht and vodka-fueled disaster. But how did this happen? Well, like a bad relationship, it was complicated. To understand this financial fiasco, we need to rewind a bit. Imagine Russia in the 90s, like a teenager going through puberty, awkward, unpredictable, and prone to breaking things. And by things, I mean their entire economy. The fall of the Soviet Union in 1991 left Russia in a state of economic disarray. It was like trying to build a brand new car out of spare parts, except the instructions were in Klingon. One major issue: declining productivity. Factories that once churned out tanks and tractors were now struggling to produce even basic goods. It's like when your grandma gets a smartphone. The potential's there, but the learning curve is steep. On top of that, Russia had a huge fiscal deficit. That's fancy talk, for they were spending way more money than they were making. Imagine trying to maintain a caviar and vodka habit on a ramen noodle budget. Not sustainable, right?
And then there was Chechnya. The conflict there wasn't just a humanitarian crisis. It was an economic drain, sucking up resources like a thirsty oligarch at an open bar.
In short, Russia was like a house of cards built on a foundation of jelly. It was only a matter of time before the whole thing came crashing down. But wait, there's more. As if Russia's internal problems weren't enough, along came a little something called the Asian financial crisis. Like a contagious sneeze in an elevator, financial crises rarely stay put. The Asian flu, as it was called, started in Thailand in 1997 and quickly spread to other Asian economies. This wasn't just bad news for Asia, it was terrible news for Russia. See, Russia was heavily reliant on exporting raw materials like oil and gas to those very same Asian countries. When the Asian economies tanked, their demand for Russian exports plummeted faster than a drunk cosmonaut on a spacewalk.
To make matters worse, the price of oil, Russia's economic lifeblood, decided to take a nosedive. It was a perfect storm of economic crap. Imagine you're at a casino. You've bet your life savings on black, and the roulette wheel lands on 00 green. That was Russia in 1998.
Now let's talk about the man behind the curtain, or at least the man who was supposed to be in charge. Boris Yeltsin, the president of Russia. Imagine trying to run a country while simultaneously battling a hangover the size of Siberia. That was Yeltsin in a nutshell.
As the crisis deepened, I had to make some tough decisions. I played political musical chairs with my cabinet, firing prime ministers like I was auditioning for a reality TV show.
First, he gave Viktor Chernomyrdin the boot, then brought him back, and then gave him the boot again, replacing him with the relatively unknown Sergei Kiriyenko. A man so young, he probably thought perestroika was a new brand of vodka. These moves reeked of desperation and did little to inspire confidence in the government's ability to handle the crisis. It was like trying to put out a fire with gasoline.
It was a chaotic time. The Russian people were understandably less than impressed.
Unsurprisingly, the Russian people were less than impressed. By August 1998, the writing was on the wall, or rather scrawled in panicked Cyrillic, on the sides of crumbling buildings. The Russian government had two choices, both bad: devalue the ruble or default on its debts. It was like choosing between being nibbled to death by ducks or being swallowed whole by a bear.
In the end, they did both. On August 17, 1998, the Russian government dropped a bombshell. They announced a devaluation of the ruble, effectively slashing its value. They also declared a 90-day moratorium on paying back certain debts. In other words, they told their creditors, "We're fresh out of rubles, come back never."
The news sent shockwaves through the global economy. It was like watching a bear ride a unicycle while juggling chainsaws, terrifying and utterly surreal.